Hello friends, my name is Nikolay Monashok. If someone doesn't know me, it's nice to see you on our channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel right now. Today, I'm going to the field to observe our process of harvesting alfalfa for silage. What is silage? This is the preparation of alfalfa with an average moisture of 60%. It is rammed into a silo pit and preserved for the use on animal farms. Combine harvesters are picking up alfalfa. Rakes are raking alfalfa into the rows, and the mowers are mowing. You don't often see this in silage process because usually after the silage was mowed, it takes some time, probably around 20 hours for it to dry out, and then it gets picked up. Our temperature is now 30 degrees. We have the whole process visible on one field. This is unique, and today you will see this process and how it all happens. It's very nice. We'll take a photo from the drone. It's going to be just great. You will get to see everything clearly. Now let's go to the field to see everything. I'll briefly tell you how we do it here, and then we'll go see the pit. One, two. Does this sound okay? Where does silage begin? First, we go to the field and look at what phase the alfalfa is in order to understand when to mow it. The optimal mowing phase is before budding starts, because once budding has started, it begins to bloom, and then it's already too late. All the sugars go into the bud. Now we have an ideal phase. The bud's just beginning to form. In the background, I have a 7920 John Deere tractor mower and a Pöttinger mower. We make a bevel of 10 to 12 centimeters. Before that, we did 5 to 7 centimeters. From experience, I can tell you what the benefits of our new bevel level. It is raked better, it is easier to raise the mass, we damage the blades of the mower plate less, and after all that, the alfalfa grows much faster. This field is the worst. It's already in its 6th year. We are now harvesting it. Then we will cultivate it with discs and remove alfalfa from the crop rotation to plant wheat here. We don't keep alfalfa in one field for more than 6 years, usually 4, 5, or 6 years, depending on the field. The yield on this field is probably somewhere, well, we'll have to mow to see, but probably somewhere like 7 tons per hectare. On average, on all the fields, we have about 9 to 9.5 tons of alfalfa, and that's without irrigation. This year, we have planted 210 hectares on irrigation. There, the yield should be somewhere around 1 to 2 on irrigation. That should be up to 20 tons. It's dirty, has some weeds. There are camomiles, plus the green caterpillar ate a little of the alfalfa. You see the leaves have been eaten. We've already lost moisture. Plus, these weeds are really getting me sick. This is how the windrow looks after we've mowed it. This is how the Pöttinger mower lays it down. Also one mower, KUHN 302, is working now. 3 meters wide, it's also a cool one. Now 2 mowers are working, but we rely on the Pöttinger mower more, because it can mow 100 hectares a day. This is how it lays down the hay. We can spread it, or we can lay it down by the windrow. In this case, we do not spread it, but lay it in the windrow. And because the windrow is small here, the mass is small. And in order not to overdry it, you always need to adjust it because every field is different. If the mass is large, we scatter. but also so that the wheels do not run into the windrow. Because if you scatter a lot, especially when the second mower is working, like we have 302, it goes and takes the mass between the wheels. And when it runs over the wheels, this is not good. Then we are limited in the width of the swath along its wheels. When the Pöttinger butterfly mower is working, it is 8.5 meters wide. The front bevel is also limited. It puts it between the wheels not to overrun, and it expands the rear fenders to the maximum. If the mass is large, and the weather is not very hot, we need it to dry out faster. Now we are shifting in the mowers. The mass is small. I'll shift it in to dry more slowly. It dries quickly anyway. Because you see, we move the windrows to the left. Now you will see the whole process. To the left and behind me, the silage harvesters and rakes are already working. This is the silage, guys. We always end it like this, because it's hot. And mainly we start it in a day. Mow it down, and after a day has passed, only then do we pick it up. At the moment, we're going on an average of 115 hectares a day. We have two strong John Deere silage harvesters, the 7250 and the 7300. John Deeres are awesome. One is newer, one is older, no complaints at all. Now let's get to the rakes. Let's go. The 7250 John Deere silage harvester. I worked on this bad boy at the age of 19. Its productivity, well, we pick up the silage with two such combines, 50 to 60 hectares per day with one, so two of them can harvest 110 to 120 hectares. Have you heard the crackling? Like, maybe the lid from a beer can or something. There's a clutch, a ratchet, and a metal detector. When the metal detector sees that the metal is there, it crackles, and the mass stops tilting there, and so you are not damaging the knives. We carry silage with KAMAZ dumpsters and DAFs. It is twice as efficient to carry with DAFs. It is more economically efficient. It costs half as much and it takes 2.5 times more tonnage. The KAMAZ dumpster takes 8 tons, even if the moisture is 60. The DAF takes 20 to 21 tons. It takes 2 to 2.5 times more weight, so the economic cost is less. So it turns out, for DAF transportation, it costs 16 hryvnias per ton. And for KAMAZ, it's 27 hryvnias.
From Alpha to Omega, VHS to Beta, PlayStation to Sega, my skill is still greater. The sickest thing since VD, wicked like VJ.
Behind me is the Pöttinger rakes. This rake is very cool, new. I bought it just last year. And look how it works. It's generally perfect. It does not touch the ground and picks up everything. This is the process we have after we mowed and dried the mass. Here it lies. It shines a little. Here's a dried row. We throw 4 rows into one. Here in this one, you can see it's an excellent dried mass. The leaves are all in place. Everything is there. Well, of course, there are some weeds. That's how it is this year. The mass is now excellent. Moisture is 62 to 61. Dry matter is 39 to 38. These rakes are great. I recommend them to everyone. To prepare a good silage, you need less than 10% of waste. the soil, dust, and everything else. Protein levels should be 21 to 23. Last year we probably had 18 to 19. This year I want to prepare it better with 22 to 23. We'll see. We will announce and write what we managed to prepare for silage this year. Two silage harvesters with 360 horsepower. One Pöttinger mower, 8.6 meters. 4 DAFs with 41 to 45 cubic meter trailers. The farm within 2, 3, and 4 kilometers of the fields, and the yield is 9 to 10 tons per hectare. It is realistic to prepare 1,000 tons a day. This is what we had on the first day. We harvested 115 hectares, which came down to 1,000 and something tons. As for the moisture, or dry matter of the mass itself, we try to harvest in the golden medium, so that the moisture is 60 and the dry matter is 40. In this case, we have already laid 3,000 tons, 59.7 moisture. I think it's very cool and perfect. The range we try to be around 57 to 62. We come to the field in the morning and start mowing when the moisture is 65 and dry matter is 35. Also, we understand from experience that it is better to put in the pit over-dried haylage, even with moisture of 50, dry substance 50, than wet with a moisture of 70.
Понятно, що не на траву надо буде десь.
Понятно, да.
The red line for moisture is 65, and then more moisture like 67, 68, 70. This is critically bad. You put 1 or 2 trucks in the pit of such wet stuff, and the water is flowing. You could spoil the whole pit. Even though you spread it over the pit, it's still wet. And then when you have opened the pit, you take it into the feeder, and you'll see that spoiled layer. It is poorly preserved. Even the preservative will never save it. It is better to over-dry it than to lay it wet and potentially waste all the silage. The tractor flew in at high speeds. Normal, straight swept, and clean. We have 3 units of equipment working in the pit. The John Deere 8430 with a bucket, Case 340 with slan and rollers, and a John Deere 6130D, also with a frontal bucket, to help break up the mass and roll the edges. Determining the moisture is very simple. You can determine it even without a laboratory. If the mark from the tires remains and the tires are slightly shining, then you know the moisture is good. Once we finish the pit, it is very important to complete it correctly. If you want to do it perfectly, like a book writes, manual work will be needed. As you can see, 2 people are finishing the pit, leveling some of the holes and unevenness with a pitchfork. This is so that the hole is leveled as we need it. And tomorrow morning, we will cover that half of the pit. To get a good compaction, it is important to stretch the pit and not to make it very steep so that it is easier for tractors to pull the mass. And it is very important to pull the mass with a layer of 15 centimeters. How you see it now is ideal. We pull a mass with a 15 centimeter layer. Then a small amount of tractor passage is enough, and it is compacting much faster. If you poke a layer above 30 centimeters, even 40, 50, 70, you can put an egg there and it won't crush. So if you put an egg in the middle, it won't crush, and then it's very hard to ramp it in. So it's a cool rammer. Here, look. They arranged it, it drove through fine, and it is fine. Perfecto. We used to ram the whole night. We thought it was good to ram. We've concluded that that is a bit of bullshit. After we have already finished supplying the mass, the maximum it can be rammed for is an hour and a half. If we do more than that, it is important to squeeze out all the oxygen of the pit, and contrary to that, it is like a sponge. So we supply oxygen the more we ram it. I don't want to be too clever here, but in simple terms, it is like this. It is better not to ram too much, not to drive air in there. They already ran for an hour. If you are fine with the rammer, you feel it with your feet. You should be able to feel that it is enough. At night, in the process of harvesting, it is imperative to cover the pit with a film. Cover it with some kind of duty film to be able to cover it quickly for 7 to 10 hours, because you never know if it will rain. And also so that it does not breathe, and so that these conservation processes will already go on. It is very important. In the morning, open it up and keep going. Before we rammed for a very long time, the whole night, we finished the haylage and ram it until the morning, organized the second shift. Now this year, we are no longer doing that, and I'm very happy with the results. We'll see. We're always experimenting. It's hard to say that everything we do is right. A little bit of something we are adding, and a little bit of something we're subtracting. We must always experiment and try. Everyone is different. By the way, here's what I'm talking about. Here, come over here. This is the second silo pit. The fact that it is overgrown is nothing to worry about. And this is how we cover with the straw. But under the straw, the film is perfect. And the birds do not fly here. And different dogs do not sniff or do not tear at it. We came up with this decision last year not to buy this protective net, which cost a lot of money. They say that you also need a protective net from birds and from everything else, so they don't pierce it with their beaks. They last for 5 years, but they're very expensive. I see no reason to buy it. Just take your straw, which is already damp, cover it, and throw it in the stingrays. It compacts down with the rain. It is like a sponge. Water does not drain. It dried up, and it's perfect. And it's very important at the opening to tuck it so that such a piece does not get into the feed. This is a recommendation from us that we ourselves can recommend based on experience. It works very well. Therefore, friends, I hope you liked this video, a short overview of our technological process, how we harvest alfalfa haylage. Your feedback is very important to me. Write comments below. I read them all. Maybe I don't have time to answer everyone because I'm very busy, so please excuse me for this. But I do read every comment. So please, write your comments, put likes, and those not yet subscribed to our channel, be sure to subscribe yourself and all your friends. The more of us, the better things we can do. My name is Nikolay Monashok, and this is the Agrosfera channel. I wish you a great season. And those of you who are still making haylage, I wish you success in this not very easy technical process. Well, we covered the pit, and this is how the beauty turned out. Now all that's left is to check it. Friends, we have covered the pit. Now we solemnly finish the haylage. Come to check out how it's covered. It's covered well. I like it. Well done, team. This works an A+. Friends, I was glad that you were watching us, that you watched this episode to the end. Subscribe to our channel, those who have not yet subscribed. We definitely put these fingers up because this episode was very cool. I put my soul into this episode, and I put my soul into this haylage. Therefore, be sure to put likes and write comments. Nikolay Monashok from Agrosfera channel was with you. I'll see you in the next episode. Good luck and bye.